If you already own the Ronin RS2 or the RSC2, and you've been looking for more creative ways to make use of it, this is a good one. The cheap Chinese camera slider. I've had my RSC2 gimbal for a couple of months now, and really I couldn't be happier with the thing. Looking back into the past at some of the camera gear I bought that I wasn't so happy about, I remembered this cheap Chinese camera slider thing. I got it thinking it'd be a good way to add some motion into like a B camera for some interview footage. It's got these little knobs so that presumably if you line it up right, you can make it so that as it travels across the thing, it'll just keep the camera pointed at whatever your subject is. And when it works, it makes this really cool effect and you get this really cool like parallaxy video tracking shot thing. It's just that it doesn't work very often, and even when you do get it to work, you have to fiddle with it for a long time, and I don't know, these things will come unset, and like after a little bit of filming, the subject will be like moved over in the frame, and I was never very happy with it. It's a cheap one. This is only a couple $100 on Amazon. They make super nice, super expensive ones that have their own little robot arm that can track and can, you know, do what you would want it to do. But then it occurred to me, this thing has a regular little camera mount. That's how you connect a camera to it. You can connect one of those to the bottom of the gimbal too. It's really just the tracking on this thing that's hard to set up. The motor, getting it to move back and forth, and it's got its own little computer, it's got its own little motor thing, and that's actually fine. So I can use the Raven Eye software in the gimbal to choose a target to lock onto, and then just set this thing to loop going back and forth forever. And the gimbal's gonna handle all of the part that you couldn't set up with the cheap Chinese knockoff ones, the part that separates the cheap Chinese knockoff ones from the super expensive ones. There's one called the Rhino Arc II, where it has its own little computer, its own little gimbal. It can lock onto stuff and it can do everything you would expect it to. But since I already have RSC2, which can do all that stuff, all I needed was something that would make it go back and forth in an even way. And voila, a couple $100 on Amazon, and you can get one of these cheap knockoff Chinese sliders, and they work great for just that. And this thing works great for tracking a subject. Together, they're great. This became a rare case of mixing top-of-the-line technology with cheap Chinese knockoff tech, where the result is amazing, and it actually does what you want. Whether you need like a locked-on shot for some B-roll, like for product photography or something like that. I'm taking a little video of this forge burning because it'll look cool and it'll illustrate this well. Or whether you want a second camera for an interview that has some motion in it that looks neat. This is a cheap and functional solution. I mean, it's no MKBHD robot arm, but it's pretty sweet. Thank you. I hope this helps somebody solve some kind of creative problem. My name is Nicholas Johnson. This is the Space Warehouse, and I will see you very soon. You see, I've got diamond hands, and I'm riding on a rocket ship that's going up to the moon. It's called MVIS. It's a company that makes LiDAR scanners so that self-driving cars can see the road and the environment in front of them and around them. These things are going to become crucial, and all the big companies that are making cars are going to start to want them. Apple's courting them, Ford's courting them, I think Mitsubishi's courting them. So basically, LiDAR is part of the future for self-driving cars, and microvision is the future of LiDAR.